At 11 weeks into my first pregnancy, we were told that our son was conceived with an abnormality that was considered incompatible with life. It was difficult to reconcile seeing our son's heartbeat and seeing him move around on sonogram and seeing my belly grow while simultaneously being told that he couldn't and wouldn't survive. We had to come to grips with the reality that if his diagnosis held true, his life would be much shorter than we would have imagined or hoped for. And for any parent, that's a devastating blow.
So I was 16 weeks pregnant when we received Ellis's life-limiting diagnosis. I remember being so afraid to love him, afraid to lose him, afraid of him. I remember sitting in the doctor's office and her rattling off all the different things that were wrong with him. And I just cried thinking about my dreams of his life and my expectations of his life slipping away.
So we found out we were having a girl and that our little girl had a genetic disorder that was believed to be incompatible with life. The focus shifted from being excited about finding out the gender to not being worried about that in any way. And we were devastated, and we prayed together and we cried and tried to figure out what was next, and we tried to figure out words to put together to explain to our friends and our families the information that we had received.
We decided that if our son's death was impending, we would not be the one to set that date. So rather than giving our little boy an abortion, we gave him a name, and Abel Paul Crawford's journey on earth continued.
There was one night I was looking up things and I came across a blog and I saw Abel's face for the first time. It was the first time that I wasn't afraid of Ellis. I saw a beautiful little boy and the hope that you can carry alongside that grief. God used his story to give me hope, finally a breath of fresh air. We knew that our Ellis was being knit together perfectly by his Creator for a purpose.
So we found Abel Speaks, and they connected us to another couple who had walked a similar path and provided advice and wisdom and insight on the journey that we were about to embark on. I think we were in some ways surprised to also start to experience joy mixed in with the sadness and the grief. So we chose to name our daughter Elizabeth, and we chose the middle name Joy, and her name fit her perfectly.
It was very important to us to find doctors who would support us and value Ellis's life. Abel Speaks helped us talk through these difficult decisions we had to make with the hospital to get the support we were looking for.
The day of Elizabeth's birth, Abel Speaks set us up with a photographer that was able to come and take some pictures of our special day with Elizabeth, a day that we are so grateful for, and we're so thankful for the pictures that we have from that day.
We were paired with a birth doula who offered wisdom and advocacy and peace during labor. When we didn't have the words or strength to pray, we knew we were prayed for. Abel Speaks loved us and loved Ellis.
We keep a lot of our most cherished possessions of Elizabeth in the beautifully engraved keepsake box we received.
I couldn't have guessed how much these physical gifts would mean to us during pregnancy, delivery, and after.
In some ways, people think it would have been easier to choose the other route. But the truth is that terminating our son's life would not have spared us an ounce of sorrow or loss. It only would have robbed us of the sweet and joyful memories that now forever mark our season with Abel. It's a poem from Leo Tolstoy, and it starts, "People ask, why do children or young people die when they have lived so little? How do you know that they have lived so little? This crude measure of yours is time, but life is not measured in time. While losing Abel was tragic, the real tragedy would have been if we had kept ourselves from truly loving Abel during the time that we did have with him." Hebrews chapter 11, verse 4 says, "Through faith, though he is dead, Abel still speaks."
Elizabeth still speaks.
Ellis still speaks.
Joy and sorrow are not mutually exclusive.
The journey for any family in our situation will be difficult, and it will be worth it.
We can choose to see every child's life as a gift.
No matter the circumstances.
And we don't have to do it alone.